Everyone has had a moment or an event in their life that has made them realize what they want to do or what their purpose is or who they are. For me, this event happened 2 years ago. You can almost smell it in the air. You can sense it happening. Um, Finishing up a 6 hour shift at the rescue squad, we were on the way back from the hospital when a car accident materialized right in front of us. Airbags had been deployed and pieces of bumper lay on the ground as we pulled up to control the intersection. The two drivers were clawing out of the car, and I yelled at one of them to meet me um, at the corner of the intersection. She seemed in utter distress. Her heart rate was really high. She was hyperventilating, and I wanted to make her feel like she was in control. But as soon as I started to get control of the situation, and I thought things could not get worse, a police officer came over and started asking her questions repeatedly about what had happened, and getting her side of the story, and her heart rate started to rise again. However, the last question that the police officer asked really stuck with me, and her response really changed everything. And the question was, "Do you have car insurance?" And she replied, "No." And then right after that, the police officer quickly turned on his heels and left, and I was left with an emotionally charged woman to settle down. And I was disappointed, even though I knew that the officer had a job to do. I was disappointed in the curt response that he had, and I felt like this interaction could have been handled with more compassion and more empathy. This specific instant had helped me realize what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. Empathy should be one of the bases for our character. However, as a human race, we are losing the ability to empathize. We are constantly divided by our one-sidedness and ability to turn a cold shoulder on one another. Oftentimes, our life experiences and perceived identities help shape how we view things, whether that be cisgender, being male, being white. All of these things lead to a lack of understanding. So growing up, I had a foot in both privilege and poverty, having family and being from Belize, a country in Central America. Belize is a developing country. It does not have some of the privileges and amenities that we do. Electricity and air conditioning is not guaranteed. Rainwater is collected for drinking. Roads have potholes. From a very young age, I could comprehend the idea of empathy because I was able to see past the privilege that I lived in the United States. In a bustling, technology-centered American society, we can't imagine a household without air conditioning or multiple TVs, let alone the cell phone in our hand at all times, right? It is that lack of experience in our perspectives. It is that lack of experience in our outside of our own perspectives that erroneously leads us to believe that any country that doesn't have that is inferior. Yes, privilege is dividing and it keeps us from expressing our understanding, but it's not an insurmountable obstacle. However, it is an obstacle many people would rather abandon than try to overcome. But in order to create this widespread restoration of empathy, it takes all of us. I cannot do it all by myself. Take a step back and look at what is taking place right in this moment, right? Widespread polarization because people aren't able to come together and talk to each other. Riots because people will not listen to one another and understand, right? Everyone has the ability to communicate with one another and be compassionate, and I firmly believe that. Just by actively listening and showing appreciation and emotion, you can do your part in helping increase the empathetic capacity of our world. Empathy does not mean agreement. Empathy does not mean agreement. Rather, it's showing that level of compassion and understanding. To sum this all up, is it possible to restore empathy in our world and country? Yes. Will it happen overnight? No. We cannot just do one act of empathy and then throw our hands up in the air and walk away because change hasn't been made yet. We need to continue to do our best to promote empathy in the world. It may be hard sometimes, but the end result will be beautiful. If empathy wins, we win.